December 10th is the UN deadline for a decision on the status of Kosovo's independence. Gallup talks to USIP's Daniel Serwer to gain perspective on the situation. Since 1999, Kosovo's status as an independent state has remained undetermined. But now, with December 10th looming as the UN deadline for the contact group, including France, Germany, Italy, Russia, the UK, and the United States, to deliver their report on Kosovo's status, some believe Kosovo's independence is within sight. I spoke with Daniel Serwer of the United States Institute of Peace to get his take on the situation in the region. So it seems like there's three major players in the situation besides Kosovo and Serbia, and that is Russia, the EU, and the US. And it seems like the EU and the US are leaning more towards an independent Kosovo immediately, whereas Russia wants to wait for a decision from the UN Security Council. So what do you think would happen if, come December 11th, Kosovo were to declare independence? Would the US and the EU recognize Kosovo as an independent state?
Whenever the date is, I think the US and the EU will recognize Kosovo as long as there's been absolutely no violence against Serbs in Kosovo, and that Albanians in Kosovo be patient, because this is going to take a few more weeks, but it's not going to take more than a few more weeks.
So why is Russia pushing so strongly for a UN Security Council decision?
It's saying it wants a decision in the Security Council, but it doesn't like the decision, the only decision that appears possible at this point, which is independence.
There's no easy out to this situation, because Gallup actually polled in Kosovo in 2007, and they found that 59% of Serbians in Serbia do not want independence. And then we have 86% of Kosovars who do want independence. And then within Kosovo itself, within the region itself, there's the Albanians, and then there's the Serbs, who are also very divided on this issue.
The right way to settle this issue was with a Security Council resolution, which would have reduced the likelihood of violence, because once the Security Council decides, that's definitive for everybody. Now the question is, what's the best thing to do? Delay further, which will invite violence and instability, or to move ahead anyway, saying, look, the United States, Europe, has a right to recognize as a sovereign state whomever it wants to recognize as a sovereign state.
Speaking of likely violence, as you put it, 59% of Serbians, 75% of Kosovar Serbs, and only 8% of Kosovar Albanians think an independent Kosovo will destabilize the region. And then beyond that, Gallup also asked if Kosovo's independence would cause another war. And 16% of Serbians and 15% of Kosovar Serbs agree that it will cause another war.
Well, I genuinely believe that war is avoidable. In the absence of a Security Council resolution, the best way of avoiding it is to proceed with independence recognized by the US and the EU. Who can cause violence? There are Serbs who can cause violence, and there are Albanians who can cause violence. It seems to me that most of the Albanians are convinced today, certainly their leadership is convinced, that violence against the Serbs in Kosovo would be counterproductive, and that it would be, because it would prevent recognition by the US and the EU.
So suppose December 10th comes and goes and nothing happens. What do you think that will do to the region?
The problem you've got with the Albanians is that they live in all these different places, and the big question for them is, why can't we live all in the same country? Now they've made a bargain with the international community. That bargain is essentially, you give Kosovo independence, we give up on uniting Albanians all in one country. If the international community doesn't come through with its part of the deal, I'm afraid that the idea of pan-Albanianism, of all Albanians in one country, will revive. And that idea is an idea that leads directly and without a doubt to violence.
I'm Yasmin Vasugian, and join us again to hear more voices from around the world.